This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global down at the MTK Performance Centre. Finally, we got the news that we all wanted. I'm joined by Ben Davison. That wasn't the news. Josh Taylor v Jose Ramirez, undisputed clash, May 22nd in Las Vegas. Buzzing?
Yeah, really excited. Obviously, fantastic opportunity. Obviously, we knew that it was coming, but obviously then there was a change of date, and obviously had to get that signed off of ESPN and whatnot. So pleased for it to finally be announced, but we've been preparing for it for a while, so it's just another day at the office for us.
Yeah, he's been in camp for a while, I know that, but now a date has been set and it's on. There must be a little bit more fire in the belly for Josh and yourself.
Yeah, I think obviously for the fighters, I think for them it gets that right. Okay, it's really here now, but effectively for me, what I do in my job, it doesn't really change. If you're preparing for that fight, you're preparing for that fight. Nothing really changes. But I know what you're saying. Obviously, the excitement, especially for the fighters, to know right, it's out there now, and it's coming.
Just seen sort of the social media reaction to the announcement. It's gone crazy, which it should do for an undisputed fight.
100%. This, I think stylistically, it's going to make for a fantastic fight as well. So. No wonder that the fans are excited, and there's a lot of hype about it. I do believe that it'll be one not to be missed. And of course, it's history in the making. With Josh will become the first four-belt undisputed British fighter in history.
Wow. Have you given any thought to ideally how many weeks you want to do camp in America?
Yeah, we've discussed it. Of course, we've discussed it and got things in place. So, funny enough, I've just was planning it while you was putting this together, a couple of bits. So, everything's planned. We know what we need to do. It's just a case of doing it and letting the days tick down, and finally it'll be here.
And hopefully a few Scots, a few Brits can get out to the MGM Grand on May 22nd.
Hopefully. I think there's a bit of talk that they may be able to. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but, God willing, and hopefully that'll be the case.
Well, it'll certainly reboost the economy of Las Vegas.
Yeah, certainly. Well, they drink and drive, we know that.
So, yeah, that was an excellent piece of news. I mean, British boxing, world boxing's flying at the moment, but especially for our Brits, obviously, Canelo Saunders, we look like Fury Joshua is going to happen as well, and, of course, Taylor Ramirez, flying. Yeah,
for such a bad year for the sport last year, to a degree. This year looks like all the big fights being made. There's going to be so many questions that people have waited for a long time to see be found out. I just hope that, and obviously in my thoughts is the small hall shows, that we can get that back going, because there's so many fighters that have been in a tough position over this whole period. So while it's fantastic, and I'm a boxing fan myself, so while I'm as pleased as everybody for the big fights that are being made, I do really hope that the small hall shows can get back alive, and of course amateur boxing as well this year.
Yeah, I think everyone watching that will echo that. Before we talk about Canelo and Billy Joe, I do want to ask you about that. Let's just quickly go through the rest of your schedule. So, Shabazz Massoud finally makes his return to the ring, of course, on the undercard of Lee McGregor and Karen Murphy. Just talk to me about both fights, please, Ben.
Yeah, Shabazz finally got a date. He's waited for an extremely long time, but he's finally got a date. Louis Norman, who's a good fighter, a tricky little fighter, an intelligent little fighter. Certainly ask some questions, and he'll come to win. He's that type of lad. So it's definitely a good fight for Shabazz, and God willing, I believe that he'll come through. And like I said before, previously speaking to you, this year there will be, I want titles for Shabazz and not Mickey Mouse titles. I want serious titles for Shabazz, because he's got all the ability to do so, and he should be moved fast. Lee McGregor, obviously we spoke about this for a few times now, because it's about the fourth or fifth time the fight's been made. Karen Murphy, 33-fight veteran, 29 victories, only lost to seriously top quality, and even in his losses, he's always been in the fight.
Lee hasn't exhausted himself, has he? Because he's been literally in camp for, 5 months of this?
It's tough, because we've had to taper it. Obviously, he's big for bantamweight, so it has been tough on him. But it's just where we've got to be smart with the preparation, knowing when to hold him back, when to step it up, and how to taper it, which has been difficult. You know, I'm not going to sit on him talk rubbish. It's of course it's difficult, especially a lad that's big for the weight. So, but Gurphy will be in the same position, and you know, like I said, there is no more of a perfect example of proper European level than Karim Gurphy. He's not someone that's won a European title. Let's quickly snatch it off him. He is a solid European level fighter. But I do believe that Lee will look and perform and come across as though he is the veteran in that fight.
Well, March 19th is a big night for yourself. As I said, Lee McGregor bids for the European title and Shabazz is finally back in the ring. So, yeah, we saw it all over the weekend. Canelo beat Avni Yildirim, and then the fight with Billy Joe Saunders was announced. Quickly, just get your thoughts on Canelo's performance.
No, I actually felt like he half attempted to carry Yildirim in the third, as if to go, let's get one more round out. But obviously Yildirim couldn't make it. But listen, it was one of them. It was always going to be a bit of a highlight reel type fight stylistically for Canelo. But you know, pound for pound, he's the best on the planet. So you know, there's lots of. It's not to say Yildirim's a bad fighter. He'll do that to a lot of good quality type fighters.
Billy Joe Saunders' his best performance, arguably the Andy Lee one, the David Lemieux one. A lot of people talk about the David Lemieux one. How much more does Billy need to do against Canelo than he did against David Lemieux?
It's a different fight. People will say, "Oh, David Lemieux, you know, that's what Billy Joe needs to do." It's a completely different fight. David Lemieux, IQ, and boxing skills in Canelo is worlds apart. Andy Lee has a lot better skill set than David Lemieux. That's why I've always said Billy Joe's better performance was Andy Lee. The Lemieux was I've seen Billy Joe do that 1,000 times. So, but it's a different ball game, you know. And a lot of people talk about Canelo this and Canelo that and previous fights, but he's a different animal now. People don't get it. He's a different animal now. So the person who wins this fight is this person who is more better prepared tactically and has the better brain in there on the night. Physically, there's not that much between them, in my opinion. I know Canelo can hit hard. Billy Joe's probably got the edge in speed. It boils down to, in my opinion, the better brain and better prepared.
And Billy Joe's got enough punching power, enough pop to keep Canelo off?
I don't know where all this can Billy Joe punch. Like, Andy Lee's a big puncher, but Billy Joe dropped Andy Lee. If anyone looked like they was going to go in that fight, but did go over, it was Andy Lee. Billy Joe has more than enough pop to hurt someone if they do not respect it. Believe me, and he's shown that previously. Like, there was moments probably with a little bit more finer details. Billy Joe could have got Lemieux out of there. There was a couple of points early in the fight he potentially had him going as well, and it took Golovkin 7 rounds. But Billy Joe's got plenty of pop. Do not worry about that.
So it's definitely not a case where Canelo can just complete disregard for Billy. Yeah.
No way. Not a snowball's chance.
I've seen people say that.
Not a snowball's chance in hell can he do that. And the speed and sharpness of how quick that can come, if you make a mistake and leave yourself out there to dry, that will hurt you alone. Never mind the fact that he's a big enough lump. He's a very, very thick middleweight / super middleweight.
And regardless of his punching power anyways, that isn't the key anyways to beat Canelo, is it?
Callum Smith, can he punch? Kovalev, can he punch? Golovkin, can he punch? They can all punch, but they didn't win. So
Floyd Mayweather did.
Floyd Mayweather won. How did he win? Using his brain. But the perception is, everybody's got this perception that Mayweather went round the outside. Well, watch the fight. What's the first thing that he does? He steps straight to Canelo. So, yeah. But I'm not going to give too much thing. But, yeah, listen, his power is not to be underestimated, that's for sure.
How much has Canelo improved then since the days of the Lara fight? How much has Canelo Alvarez improved in your opinion?
Different ball game, completely different ball game. another animal completely. Extremely intelligent. He's on a completely another level now than what he was then. And I think he's just got more of an identity. Before, he would sort of float between doing a bit of this and a bit of that, and it was like he could box, don't get me wrong, he could box. There was moments with Mayweather where he showed his level of IQ and had successful moments boxing with, playing the chess game with Mayweather. But now he's got a firm, solid identity, and you know exactly what you're going to get from Canelo. It's just a case of, can people work out what it is that he's doing and trying to achieve with the certain looks and things that he does. So, yeah, he's a lot better fighter now.
You mentioned earlier that whoever's smarter and better prepared on the night will win. So do you see it as a 50-50 going into this fight?
Do I see it as a 50-50? In what type of regard? Like, overall, a 50-50?
As in, I think what you're referring to is whoever makes the better adaptations on the night will win. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think who gets it more tactically right and is more better prepared and scouted their opponent better will be victorious. Do I think it's a 50-50? Probably not. The favour's probably in Canelo's favour. Doesn't change anything, no. I think Billy Joe thrives on that. Going into Lemieux, I think Lemieux, people had Lemieux expecting Lemieux to blow Billy Joe away, and although stylistically going about the fight is different, the performance was exactly what the performance needed to be and better than what people expected. And that's what Billy Joe delivers when the pressure's on. So there's no point me sitting here going, no, it's 100% certain that, everybody's got it wrong thinking that Canelo can win. Of course, look at what he's done. There's no point, this is the thing. There's no point sitting here going Canelo and talking Canelo down. What do you gain from that? That's weakness. There's no point talking Canelo down.
Because if Billy then wins, it just takes away from the win anyway.
But even then, you're just talking nonsense if you're going to play him down. Because look at what he's achieved from such a young age, and people go, he boxed a Mosley when he was older, this when he was older. Well, he was like 20, 21 boxing those type of opponents.
We'll not say what Josh Taylor was doing there.
There's no point trying to play his achievements down. He is what he is. But the reason I don't need to play his achievements down is because no matter what, I believe that Billy Joe has the ability and capability to win that fight.
Are you surprised by the British public dismissing Billy so much?
Not really. I think that people they're not looking at the fight as talking sense about the fight. They're talking about the fight like more so this is what they want to see. They want to see Billy Joe foul. They want to see Tyson Fury foul. That's what they wanted. But the guys just have a way of coming through, and like I say, I don't need to try and play Canelo down. He's as good as he is, and I'm a massive, massive fan of his. And I just think that with that being said and taken into consideration, as good as I know he is, I still believe Billy Joe has the capabilities to win that fight because I know how good Billy Joe is.
What about on fight week itself? Do you think Billy can unsettle Canelo? Because Canelo seems very cool, calm, collected.
It'd be a waste of time. Be an absolute waste of time to do that. To try and get under Canelo's skin. The reaction you'd get from Canelo is, he is extremely confident. Do you know what done it for me? What said it to me that he's like that and he's pointless? He did an interview and spoke well of Billy Joe and how good Billy Joe is. That's a man that's very confident. That's someone that is confident within himself. He's not talking down about his opponent. You're not going to get under his skin. He's a case of, I know what my opponent's capable of. I know that he's a good quality fighter, but I believe in myself, and that's what the opponent needs to have. Like, although I'm sure he's got it, because every fighter's got it, that egotistical type. He's not if he says something bad about me, I can't let him get one up on me. You probably wouldn't even get a reaction out of him if you tried to talk the smack.
Well, we wish Billy the best of luck of camp in India.
Yeah. He's a case, isn't he? He just likes to wind people up. But the fact that people are talking like what you said, some of the people dismissing him, that's just his way of going off. That's how much you lot know. Because there'll be people out there that believe all the stuff that he's coming out with. And that's just him going, that's how dumb you are. So, like, I'm interested in your opinion. But, like I say, don't need to play Canelo down one bit. He is a phenomenal fighter, but so is Billy Joe. And it's something that he's worked for a long time. I know that he'll be extremely well prepared for it. And, you know, I know that he's aware of certain things and traps and looks that Canelo does and what he's trying to achieve from those things. So he's prepared for that. He knows he will be, although Canelo doesn't box in the moment. He's boxing moments ahead, sometimes rounds ahead. But Billy Joe will be prepared for that because, like I say, he knows what Canelo's trying to achieve from what he's doing.
Well, superb fight on May 8th, just like it is on May 22nd. Fantastic month for boxing fans. Another fight that we could see is Derek Chisora v Joseph Parker. Give me your thoughts on that fight, please, Ben, and also what do you make of Joseph's win against Junior Fa on the weekend?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole of Parker's win on the weekend. I think he said himself, and a few people said that it wasn't his best performance. But you have those nights, and maybe that'll be a bit of a rocket up the backside for him to make the adjustments that he may need to make to get back sharp on his game. I know that there was the COVID situation, maybe problems with sparring and this kind of thing, and getting prepared properly. I think it's a good fight with Chisora. Chisora's a solid opponent, and you know he's been looking very good of late. Really pushed Usyk, and if you're not on your game, he will upset you. So, like I say, it's a fight that you need to be on your game for.
Ben, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Best of luck in camp with Lee and Shabazz, and then of course Josh Taylor in the big one, May 22nd. All right, thank you.
Thanks, mate.